When a criminal is caught in the act, their first defense mechanism is to lie to cover up the mess. Deception is a defining trait unique to criminals because they almost never tell the truth. Even when the police catch a thief, one of the first things they look at is body language to detect whether the suspect is lying. In June 2021, the Hawks seized a container of cocaine. But instead of taking these drugs to a secure facility for storage, they allegedly looked at the haul and said to themselves, "This could make us a lot of money." So they decided to stage a heist, making it look like thieves had broken into the storage facility to steal the drugs. From the very beginning, everything looked fishy. First, a completely unsecured storage facility was chosen. Second, thieves made an initial attempt to break in but failed. Amazingly, this didn't ring any alarm bells for the officers. They left the drugs right there until they were finally stolen. The whole thing looked completely staged. Two key police officers are the prime suspects because they have lied throughout their testimony to cover up their mess. In today's podcast, we're going to expose them all, and you'll see the truth for yourself. Grab a cup of coffee, relax, and get ready, because what you're about to see in this video will completely shock you. It all started with General Mkhwanazi, who exposed these criminals. If you love the work General Mkhwanazi is doing, hit that like button, share this video with everyone you know, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Type Viva Mkhwanazi in the comment section to show him your support. Jabulani, roll the clip.
From those police stations?
No.
But you agree that that's a very short distance?
It is a short distance.
Were inquiries made? If not, why not?
Firstly, Chair, the time delay to send members, sometimes they come back with 5 or 10 bags.
What's worse?
Yes.
What's worse? Saving time and not complying with prescripts which require that exhibits should be placed in exhibit bags. What's more important? Saving time?
Yes. No, I agree, Chair. I agree.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, am I understanding your evidence correctly to be that you and your team did not have evidence bags with you or enough evidence bags with you, but you as you were at the scene, you did not make any inquiries with any police stations?
You are correct, Commissioner.
Thank
you. Thanks, Commissioner Baloyi. In response to a question from the chair, you indicated, did I understand you correctly, that you learned later that they were transported to Port Shepstone, not contained in evidence bags. Is that your statement?
Can you repeat that?
I had understood your answer to a question posed by the chair, that you subsequently learned that they were transported from Isipingo to Port Shepstone, not in evidence bags.
I knew that from the onset, Commissioner. Yes.
Okay, that's what I needed to clarify. So by the time you left the scene at Isipingo, you knew that they were being transported to Port Shepstone, not in evidence bags.
I did know that, Commissioner.
Thank you.
So basically, you knew even before you handed over to, is it Warrant Officer Mkhwanazi?
Yes.
So even before the handover, you already knew.
I did know that.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair.
Lastly, in that paragraph 61, the very last statement where you say your interaction with DPP office at no stage was contamination of the crime scene or integrity of the exhibits ever cited as an issue. What are you conveying in terms of, maybe my question is, well, what did the DPP office know about what happened at the scene, about how the exhibits were handled? Were they ever in a position to express a view?
Yes. Okay. They would have had sight of the entire inquiry, Commissioner. That would have outlined every statement that was there. Yes, in the investigation diary, Warrant Officer Pangase puts a date and time as to when he sealed them in exhibit bags.
Jacob admitted that when they moved this massive haul of cocaine from Isipingo to Port Shepstone, he knew the drugs were not packed in secure, tamper-proof evidence bags. When the Commission asked him a direct, bottom-line question, what matters more, saving time or following the strict legal rules for sealing evidence? Jacob gave a blunt, shocking answer, saving time. By choosing speed over protocol, he left a multi-million-dollar drug haul completely vulnerable to tampering, theft, or contamination during transit. Knowing how bad that admission looked, Jacob immediately tried to defend himself by pointing fingers at the prosecutors. He essentially said, "Look, the prosecutors saw everything we did, and they never complained about the evidence being contaminated or unsealed. You see? First he left the shipping container unsealed, and then he failed to put the actual drugs into official police exhibit bags. Now let's watch him get absolutely destroyed for that exact same stupid excuse. Jabulani, play the clip."
He refers now to the 27 October discussion he had with you, and he says, "I told him that since the case, open brackets, the limited exhibits or sample, close bracket, was brought to the FSL as opposed to the crime scene analyst bringing it, the case could be analyzed by anyone."
Yes.
So he didn't take issue with the fact that a sample could be analyzed. And two paragraphs earlier, or a paragraph earlier, 6.2, where you were now dealing with the total mass of exhibits and what needed to be weighed for the purposes of destruction.
Yes.
So as you and I discussed, those are separate processes because one is qualitative, the other one is quantitative. And as far as Kuzwayo is concerned, she says she understood the discussion to be about analysts going to the crime scene to do the sampling. So it was in that context that she understood it, and there may have been miscommunication because you say you were talking about samples being taken from Port Shepstone and being sent to FSL.
That is
So
correct.
that's really where the confusion is, and all three witnesses, I try to engage them on the issue just to try to understand what exactly they are saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Advocate Sir.
Thank you for that clarification. You are clarified, Colonel. We actually had gone back to your paragraph 58 after you dealt with 59 and 60 already. I just wanted to clarify what exactly we're talking about in 58 compared to 59 and 60.
Yes, Commissioner.
So that would then lead us to your paragraph 61.
61.
Yes.
I must add that none of my actions at the crime scene or at Isipingo SAP amounted to criminal conduct. The non-availability of exhibit bags was the reason these exhibits were not sealed in bags as per National Instruction 8 of 2017. The non-acceptance of exhibits by the FSL was the reason that they were not forwarded to the FSL within 7 days. None of my actions were a deliberate attempt to ensure that the drugs were stored at Port Shepstone. During my interaction with the DPP's office, at no stage was contamination of the crime scene or the integrity of these exhibits ever cited as an issue.
Before you move on to paragraph 62, just clarify what is the purpose of referencing your interactions with the DPP insofar as the question of contamination of the crime scene is concerned? Because you don't speak about that beyond this point.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. I think the reason I added this bit in there was just to highlight that at the time that this seizure was done, yes, in hindsight, I realize now there were a lot of things that could have been done better, but at that stage, faced with my challenges, I'm going to try and get into that a little later. I did what I did. However, when this docket reached the DPP's office or this inquiry reached their office, generally they are the first ones when they peruse statements, look at the content of your docket or inquiry. If they're not satisfied with the level or the standard of work in terms of handling exhibits or chain of custody, integrity of the exhibits, all of the above, they would cite the same and basically indicate to management that this case is, we're not taking it on, we are not satisfied with A, B, and C. So I put in this paragraph to show that at that stage, in terms of prosecuting this matter, if it had to go to court, the DPP's office had no issue with regards to the investigation thus far. Thank you.
Then just as a last one, The point you make is that the DPP did not raise any concerns about the integrity and the contamination of the crime scene. That's the point.
Yeah, that's it, Commissioner.
You don't go so far as to say that the DPP confirmed the integrity of the crime scene. You're not taking it that far.
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank you. Then you may.
Sorry, before you move on, you, in that paragraph where you refer, in the second sentence,
Yes.
the non-availability of exhibit bags was the reason these exhibits were not sealed in bags as per national instruction. What does the national instruction that you're referring to say?
Okay, with regards to exhibit management, Commissioner,
Yes.
it says that drugs need to be sealed in an exhibit bag. Upon entering into the SAP 13, it needs to be sealed at the scene
Yes.
in exhibit bags.
And you say they were not sealed at the scene being at the depot
That is correct.
because there were no exhibit bags.
Yes.
But the same at Isipingo is your same, you give the same explanation.
That is correct, Commissioner.
What do you normally do when you are running short of exhibit bags? Where do you normally source them from? Because surely you have to source them from somewhere.
Yes. There's no go-to place, I would say, Chair, with regards to getting exhibit bags. You try whichever station you is closer to you. You try a few stations. Some have, some don't have. And just to elaborate on that, Chair, when I go through the inquiry, I see that even on the day, I didn't know this until I perused it, even on the day of the seizure, when they proceeded to Port Shepstone, there were no exhibit bags because I see they made an entry the next day that they had to go to Port Shepstone police station to acquire those exhibit bags. So I'm just letting the commission know that although my colleague may have alluded that we've got tons of exhibit bags, it's not always the case. Thank you.
I was, when I asked the question as to where you source the bags from,
Yes.
when you are short, I was exactly thinking of what you said, which is you call around at other police stations to source them. I was thinking of that as well.
Yes.
We have seen from the evidence that I think one of the police stations that have been mentioned is only about 20 kilometers away.
Yeah.
And I think another one is about 24 kilometers away.
Yes. Sure.
Give or take. I'm not sure about the third one, which is Maiden Wharf.
Yes.
Or rather, let me just say, one is 20, another is 24, and then there's another one. Do you know how many kilometers the third one is?
I would think it's a shorter distance from.
Even shorter than 20 and 24.
Yes.
And that is the first lie exposed. Colonel Jacob is playing defense here, attempting to pivot from we chose to save time to we literally did not have the tools to follow the rules. He is trying to blame a lack of basic police supplies for a massive protocol breach. But you see, that is the thing with criminals. When they get caught in one lie, they quickly fabricate a second one to cover up their mess. That is exactly what Colonel Jacob is trying to do here. Now, let's get to the final moment where he gets completely nailed and his entire defense crumbles right before his eyes. Jabulani, roll the clip.
I can accept that, but I still maintain, Commissioner, that the station has to cater for their own area, policing area, and more especially Maiden Wharf is one of the stations that regularly receives large amounts of drugs and exhibits from the harbour.
Just where's the logic in that? Where is the logic in that? Because two questions before, you were debating on the basis of the cumulative quantity of the 541 and the 999. Now you are told that, but you would have gotten space before the 999.
Yes.
Now I don't understand.
Okay, Commissioner, yes, I got it backward, Chair. My apologies. But
I'm trying to understand the logic of what you said just now.
Yes.
Do you accept it's completely illogical?
Okay, I got it mixed up in terms of which exhibits reached first, Chair.
But that was clarified.
Yes,
Silo
yes.
clarified to you.
Yes.
Clarified it to you.
Okay, but-
And now you started giving some other explanation, the logic of which I simply do not understand.
Okay, my point, I think, in essence, Chair, is that exhibits are continuously being entered at certain stations. Now, in the event, my 541 kilos was accepted at
If
Maiden
the
Wharf.
triple null, let's not even use if, because they did accept the 999.
Yes.
So I can't see why they could not have accepted your 541.
Okay.
Do you accept that?
Yes, I accept.
In all probability, they would have accepted your 541.
Yes.
So what issue are we debating now?
Okay. Can I expand on that?
Please,
And I
yes.
hope I'm not gonna annoy you, Chair, with this.
No, I'm not in the least annoyed.
Okay.
No.
I'm saying, Chair, this is how it works. If my 541 kilograms was at Maiden Wharf, and like I say, I'm not sure of the exact capacity of their safe, and now they receive 999. Most stations don't have capacity for all
That's
that.
Colonel Sanders' problem when he comes with the 999.
Okay, yes.
You already have your space.
Yes. So I'm saying, what would be the practical challenge, Chair? You would get a call from that station to say, we've got our own exhibits now. There's 999 that we need to store. And they've got my 540. It hasn't happened.
But that has nothing to do with what we are debating, which is why at the initial stage you did not go to Maiden Wharf. What happens down the line when there's 999 has nothing to do with why you were not the first at Maiden Wharf. Do you get my point?
I get your point, Chair.
So you basically have no answer to Ms. Silo's question. Do you accept that? It's as simple as all that. Do you accept that?
I accept it, but can I give a practical example?
Yes, okay, all right. No. Go ahead and explain.
You know, back to my Simbiti case, the one in Umhlali policing area. Similarly, if we sat here today and those exhibits got stolen, I would have been asked, or say it got stolen from Brighton Beach. Those chemicals that I said eventually ended up in Brighton Beach. One would have argued, why did I store those exhibits?
That's a different issue altogether, Colonel. That is a different issue altogether. What we are talking about now is the availability of storage space within Durban.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are debating.
Chair,
And you accepted when I engaged you earlier that you proceeded on the basis of an assumption. Now Ms. Silo is engaging you specifically about Maiden Wharf and is demonstrating to you that what you've been telling us lacks substance because someone who came, a colleague of yours, who came a month later, was able to get space for an even larger quantity of suspected cocaine. So this is about your decision at the initial stage. It has nothing to do with the possibility of theft down the line. And in any event, that could not have been your concern at the stage of where must this cocaine, suspected cocaine, be stored. Mr. Lo, you may comment if you want to.
just like I said, maybe I'm laboring on the point, but my point in mentioning the Umhlali case, Chair, was that stations did have capacity closer around to Umhlali. They did have the space
Exactly.
to store. They did have, in the case where eventually Brighton Beach assisted, the stations had the physical capacity in terms of their safes. If you looked at it, they could accommodate more than a ton. Why they didn't accommodate me, I can't answer you. But I failed.
When were you not, when is it that they did not accommodate you?
We did this in September 2020. And the reasons they cited, Chair, was not that they wouldn't even give...
What's that got to do with June 2021? What's that got to do with June 2021?
I think, Chair, I was just trying to show that my past experience showed me that stations...
Surely you could not base your decision on something that historical. You couldn't. You accepted earlier when I engaged you that you proceeded or you took your decision purely on the basis of an assumption. You've accepted that. And I think we should move on unless you again want to give some other explanation.
Thank you.
I'm not gagging you. If you want to give some other explanation, you are free to.
No, it's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Colonel, I want you to say this still on this document. It's a simple yes to say, looking at item 5, before July of 2021, before the 30th of July 2021, what it shows is that there was space to store 540 kilograms at Maiden Wharf. It's as simple as
that, Commissioner, yes.
Forget about September, October, the following year. Just looking at that, it's as simple as that.
Yes, I agree with you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Khumalo. Colonel, staying with your statement, and I think you've touched on this slightly. I would like you to have regard to your paragraph 29, your statement now at page 5.
CJC, Commissioner?
No, your own statement,
My
your
own
statement to the Commission.
Okay.
Do you have it?
Yes.
Okay. Page 5, paragraph 29. You state in that paragraph, and I'll just read it out quickly. I knew that 2 police stations that normally assisted with storage, viz. Durban Central SAP and Brighton Beach SAP, still had exhibits from our drug seizures conducted in February 2020 and September 2020, respectively. I'll stop there. You see that?
Yes, yes.
Now let's talk about the September 2020. Is that the Umhlali seizure that you spoke of?
That's correct.
Okay. What was seized there and what was the quantity?
Exact quantities, I can't recall offhand.
Estimate, in this case,
Yes,
we keep saying 540 kg. Yeah, but
Looking at maybe a ton of a precursor chemical.
a ton.
Mhm.
Okay. And then the February 2020 seizure, what was that?
That was the CHC depot. That was 547 kilograms of mandrax.
Of mandrax.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where these drugs are? Or at the time you were confronted with the 541, did you know where those drugs were? Did you know they were still at those respective police stations?
That is correct.
Okay. And it's on that basis that you say you then concluded, because the one was already holding a ton of chemicals and the other was holding 547 kilograms of mandrax, you concluded that they are not a viable option.
Yes.
Okay. I would like you to go to exhibit 2. I think, yes, exhibit 2. No, exhibit file 2. That's the word I'm looking for. And to go to CJC 242. CJC 242, Chair, page 504.
Got it.
Have you located it?
Yes.
Do you know what that document is?
I can see the heading. It looks like major cocaine and heroin seizures.
Yes, and this is from the period 2020 to date, and whatever date is, but we can determine that. Do you know that document?
I haven't seen it per se. I haven't seen this specific document.
So you wouldn't know who the author...
Sorry, just one
Sorry.
second, Commissioner. It may be something that Yeah, but the front page does not look familiar, but this could be a presentation. Yes, it is something that I had prepared, Commissioner.
You prepared this document?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Oh, no, sorry. I prepared some of it. I see it's a mixture here, Commissioner.
Yes.
I don't want to mislead you. There's some other slides that I'm not familiar with, but the photos in the front and the Durban Harbour and all of that, I compiled a similar presentation.
no, I'm talking about this one specifically. You contributed to this particular document.
I can't recall contributing to.
I'll confirm that your seizure is in this document as one of the major heroin and cocaine seizures in that period. So it is dealt with in here. That would have been from your contribution, right?
Remember, Commissioner, these stats are released once we do a buy or a seizure or any success. It's out there in our space. So I can't say I was hands-on
No,
with this.
I can live with that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you remember I said this, you see from the title,
Yes.
it's major heroin and cocaine seizures from 2020 to date. I have determined that it probably is from March 2020. And the basis for that, and up to the 14th of October 2025. That's my estimate of the period.
Okay.
And the basis for that, you will find at page 570, which is a table of all these seizures over the relevant period.
Yes, I see.
And I have determined that the last entry at 572 is dated for October 2025. Do you see that?
Yes,
At
I
page
see.
572.
Yes, I see that.
And so you don't have any challenge with my interpretation of what's stated in this document, that is for a period from March 2020 to October 2025.
Yes.
Okay, live with that. All right. Now let's go to page 570. Perhaps before we go to 570, the logical place to start would be
Colonel Jacob was in serious trouble for deciding not to store that massive haul of seized drugs, 541 kilograms of cocaine, at a secure, specialized facility called Maiden Wharf. His excuse? He claimed he just assumed Maiden Wharf was completely full with drugs from older cases and couldn't fit any more. But the evidence leader completely blew that excuse out of the water using a simple timeline and concrete facts. June 22nd, Colonel Jacob makes his big drug bust and decides not to use Maiden Wharf, claiming it's full. July 30th, just 1 month later. Another officer, Warrant Officer Sander, rolls up to Maiden Wharf with an even bigger haul, 999 kilograms of cocaine, and stores it there with zero issues. Think about the logic here. If the facility had enough space to hold nearly 1,000 kilograms of cocaine just a few weeks later, it absolutely had enough room to hold Jacob's 541 kilograms. Now you see why I said this entire operation was a staged heist from the very beginning. Now, let's listen to Senona's side of the story. Jabulani, roll the clip.
Brigadier Naika, who is from head office, and the two warrant officers at Potchefstroom offices. Commissioners, my office never received any report or feedback concerning such visit or inspections. Reference is made to paragraph 10 of Lieutenant Colonel Prinslo's statement that he deposited immediately after the incident. I'm saying this, Commissioners, because when head office visit any of the provincial offices, the protocol will be that you report at the provincial office your presence, and then in that I'm visiting this office. If it is investigation of a sensitive nature, you just report your presence and you go do your investigation. And I have never received any report from national office or any document in respect of such a visit, as well as the outcome of the inspections that was conducted there. He indicated that he could not...
General?
Yes.
Is the point, I'm trying to understand the point you're making here at 12.2. Is it that you dispute that there was such a visit that he speaks to in paragraph 10, as you say, in paragraph 10 of that affidavit? Or you say you accept there was such a visit, but the only issue you're taking is it was never disclosed to you? I'm trying to understand that I don't lose the significance of why you're saying
Yes, Commissioner. You are 100% correct. I'm not disputing the visit.
Yes.
However, I'm indicating to the commissioners, although I didn't put it here, that the visit initially was never brought to my attention. And thereafter, even a report of such an inspection was never brought or sent to my office.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. He indicated that he could not smell anything suspicious, despite another member allegedly observing a burning smell. Although he testified about the security concerns and challenges at the offices, he failed to escalate these concerns directly to my attention after his alleged unsuccessful attempts with supply chain management. At no stage were the security concerns at Port Shepstone brought to my attention prior to the storage of these drugs there. I think I also testified to that effect in 27 until the 29th. I did highlight these commissioners. He also failed to complete the relevant document to the handing over and control of the safe keys, despite him being aware of the applicable procedures. These procedures were not within my knowledge, and I've never dealt with the same before, even in relation to the safe in my office. Commissioners, here I'm saying I am not an expert in the supply chain management issues. There was a document that was presented before this commission by Lieutenant Colonel Prince Law, the handing over of the safe keys and so forth. It was the first time I saw it. I won't know everything in the South African Police Services. When the keys were handed over, I would have expected him to say, let me complete this relevant document in order for you to sign. And
Are you, sorry to interrupt you, General. Are you talking about the instance where the keys were handed over to you after the suspected contain had been placed inside this strong room, whatever it's called?
correct,
All
correct.
right, thank you.
Unless, because he never testified that I tried to complete that and hand so that they must sign for the keys or so. It never happened, and he never testified in that instances. Although I'm saying before this commission, that document, I saw it for the first time before the commission. I won't know everything in the police. Commissioners, he failed to properly inspect the office premises during the afternoon of the Sunday on the 7th of November 2021 and the morning of Monday 8th November 2021, despite observing that lights were on at the ground floor, which he considered abnormal. No occurrence book entries were made in this regard. All I'm trying to highlight here, commissioners, I testified previously that they were instructed to do the after-hour visit. And I consider this visit of Sunday as one of the after-hour visit, as per my instruction after the storage. But if you do that, you must go and patrol the entire office and check if everything is still intact. What is significant, he knew what was stored there, but he never went down. In his testimony, he said he only went into his office and did what he did, and from there he left. Of which it leaves a vacuum in my mind why he never did that. He further failed to disclose the visit by Brigadier Nyusa to the Port Shepstone offices on Tuesday, the 2nd of November 2021, shortly before the theft occurred. I can confirm, commissioners, that Brigadier Nyusa also testified here, and he confirmed that he did visit the office on the 2nd of November 2021. But from where I'm sitting, I've never visited that office ever since those drugs were stored at Port Shepstone. In any event,